What's up, guys? Welcome back from the LD Studios here in New York City. You're currently watching our coverage of the WCS America Qualifier Tournament for 8 spots in the Premier League of WCS America Season 1. We already have 3 spots filled in. Revival, Alicia, and STC. Of course, STC got a spot because, again, Cham was disqualified for playing on an account that was not his. Right now, we're trying to find the 4th spot, and it's going to be between 4 players that we're going to be casting today in the lower bracket. First match we're working on is Cham versus Apocalypse. Apocalypse up 1-0. Shall we get into game number 2?
Let's do it, of course. Great job scouting in that first game by Apocalypse. Game number 2, though, is going to be a little bit different of a map. It gets a lot more spread out, a lot more different angles you can attack from. Drop play, I think, is even better here than it is on Daybreak, as well as speed lean counterattacks.
Indeed, and the map, of course, that Nicholas is referring to is Star Station. In the bottom right-hand location, we have the Red Zerg player, the 16-year-old player from Mexico, trying to make a run, has already made a tremendously impressive run, losing in the first round of this tournament, but then defeating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in a row, 9 best-of-3s. The last match was against Noni. Look out for him in the future, and potentially right now, he is Cham. Of course, he's down 1-0. He must win 2 in a row, or he is out of this tournament.
He looks to have an aggressive style, at least judging by that first game we saw.
You know,
really tried to get in Apocalypse's face.
Yeah. What do you think went into that decision? Was that a decision that he's like, all right, I'm doing this from the front, or did something happen in the early game there that he's like, all right, I kind of have to do this?
I don't think anything happened at all. There was 2 reasons. One, it could just be the way he likes to play.
Yeah.
And 2, it could be a trick build. You know, he did 4 queens, which makes that build less optimized.
He took both gases at the natural, though.
Yes.
And he put his Baling Nest in the natural, which seems like that's like really vulnerable.
Well, the idea is the queens keep your opponent back, and when they scan, they're going to scan your main.
Okay.
I mean, a Terran's much more likely to scan your main than your natural.
Try to get your creep out as fast as possible because no Terran is going to venture too deep on a creep.
Exactly.
So there's a chance they'll lose everything they have, which ended up happening, but in that process, Apocalypse was able to get that scouting done, that oh so important scouting. Anyway, he is your Terran player in the top left-hand location, representing Team Quantic Gaming. He's 1 win away from advancing to the next round and 1 step closer on getting into WCS America Premier League Season 1. He is Apocalypse, who played, again, very well in the last game, opening up with the Reapers. Definitely frustrated his opponent a little bit with those. It pretty much demonstrated by the fact that a Spore Crawler was made, and you can trust me and Nick on this call here. He did not want that Spore Crawler early on in the game.
In fact, it never got a single attack off the entire game.
I know. The poor guy he was so close. You could see he was like, come closer, Metavex. Come closer. I want to take 1 shot, but unfortunately.
So, Apocalypse, seeing how effective that Reaper harass worked out last game, he's like, let's double down.
Let's double it up.
Yeah, let's go double Barracks Reaper. Yeah. I like it, actually.
I do too.
Interesting to do it this way. Some players try to reactor. Of course, this is actually much faster than the reactor because you don't have to wait for that reactor to build. Your barracks can constantly build those Reapers as soon as they come out. It's a little more mineral intensive than building that reactor, though. But it does save gas, which allows you to do the whole build off of a single gas with no delay in Reaper production off of either barracks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is going to delay that command center a little bit. So you kind of want to be able to do at least a decent amount of damage. But we're seeing Cham refusing to build that gas again, so not going to be opening up speed. So it looks like a similar opening to the last game. However, making a couple lings that might get taken out by this first Reaper. In fact, they will. So Apocalypse already starting out very nicely, getting first blood, 2 kills on that Reaper, no kills for Apocalypse just yet. For Cham just yet, excuse me.
The one thing Cham's got to be careful of is, you know, he's going to really rely on these queens to defend. And queens are great against a small number of Reapers, but if Apocalypse continues to build Reapers, yeah, if he gets 4 or 5, all of a sudden those queens can really start getting picked apart. 1 Reaper almost going down.
Stay alive.
Apocalypse able to get that guy out of there.
Every Reaper is so important when you're doing a build like this. Now,
is he going to stop at just 4? Or is he going to...
He's seen... Oh, Reapers?
Yeah, I think he's going to stop at 4, which is interesting because that second barracks really barely came into play.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically had 1 barracks. He could have had this many very soon after off this single barracks. So he's delaying his command center not necessarily to have a much stronger Reaper attack, but also to have a very fast startup on his bio production going into the mid game.
Yep. Of course, looks like he sniped a drone there, but going to be scurrying out of there. Apocalypse likes his Reapers. I remember on Sunday, we cast a match. You remember, excuse me, who he played? I remember he did incorporate a lot of Reapers earlier.
Oh, yes. He did a crazy.
It was crazy. I remember being crazy.
Yeah, it was like a double reactor.
It was really cool.
But then he only really did like a couple Reapers early.
Yeah.
It was against a Protoss. He opened with a fast reactor to get 2 Reapers out, and then went into like mass Marines.
He had a second. It was on Akalon Waste.
Yeah, yeah. And then his second barrack started getting a really fast either Stim or Combat Shield to do a big Marine timing.
Yes.
Then the Protoss had Photon Overcharge on a Nexus, and
it didn't work.
Yeah, he just spent a whole ton of resources for early timing that really...
The point is, Apocalypse is one to experiment, which
Yes.
is honestly is awesome to see. I love seeing players who are willing to kind of deviate from the standard builds and really search out a style of their own and see really what's possible in the game of Heart of the Swarm. And those are the players that really blow your mind once they find that beautiful symmetry of what they're trying and actually being able to make it work.
So Cham here getting his 3rd base. His lair is almost complete. It kind of looks like everything Cham's doing is faster than what you normally see, and that's because his Evo chambers are significantly later than what we're seeing from some of the more modern Zerg openings, which is kind of interesting because he is going to get a faster lair with a 3rd base that's pretty well timed, and he's got 4 queens. He's got his supply is high. It's higher than Apocalypse right now. So things are actually looking pretty good for him. And Apocalypse isn't going crazy fast upgrades by any means, so he won't even really be behind in that department.
Yeah, Cham going for this, again, this fairly fast 30. It's not like he's really fast teching off at 2 bases. Does have 4 gases, though, and there's the Spire. So it looks like he does want to go for Muta. It's going to be probably going for, again, that Ling, Baneling, Mutalist composition that can be so strong. Might try to focus on denying the 3rd base of his opponent, which is kind of doable on this map. The 3rd base on Star Station is pretty wide open. So if the Terran player isn't careful, you can literally hide some units in this hallway on the left and then try to dart in there with some Banelings a little bit later and get a lot of economic damage done. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, we got Lings trying to sneak in. They see an open door. They're like, all right, we'll take that. But then realizing it's a trap as Apocalypse closes the door behind him. There's some free Ling kills for the
I don't even think he got a single SCV there, actually.
Let me check.
Oh, no, that's unfortunate. His Zerglings kind of were unsure. They ran in, then they tried to run out, then they ran back in, then they ran back at the Marines.
Yep.
You know, not very decisive with his control there. I think he could have remedied it a bit, got a couple SCV kills, but you got to make those decisions super fast, and they're very difficult to make. But now Apocalypse putting on some pressure, and notice there's no medevacs with this army. If Cham didn't lose those speedings, if he could get a surround here, he could take out this entire force. In fact, he's got a good number of Banelings.
He does have a good amount of Banelings, but Baneling speed is not yet done. Apocalypse committing way on the creep. Apocalypse needs perfect splitting. That's exactly what it's going to do. Great splitting there from Apocalypse. Going to back up and then re-engage, leading in the front with those Marauders. Again, they're very brave. They don't care about the Banelings. They'll take them like men. The Lings trying to get the damage done, but again, there's a timer here. There's no medevac, so Apocalypse can't stim forever or he'll actually end up killing his own unit. So he has to be careful about that, but targeting down these speeds, great use of transfuse. Some more Banelings getting mixed in onto the action. Speed is almost done. 1-1 is almost done. 26 Lings on the way, and Cham is going to clean it up.
He's going to clean it up, but Apocalypse was extremely cost efficient there. He killed a lot of Banelings, a lot of speedings. He even got a couple of drones in that attack. I think that attack was a very high success. It was a very risky move because if Cham had 20 more speedies when he moved out there, he would have pretty much lost everything for very little. But as it was, Cham just wasn't prepared there. The micro against the Banelings was spectacular. Almost every single one hit only Marauders. And Apocalypse, I think, is going to be very happy with the way this opening has gone for him so far.
The Cham also spent a lot of his resources defending that and making all of these Lings, which means, look at his gas right now. He has 800 gas. He could potentially have 8 more mutas right now, but for now, only he has 8 in production, which is a decent amount, but the point is he could have a lot more if he didn't make all of these Lings. And again, he made all this because of that push there from Apocalypse. So we'll keep an eye on where Cham goes from here, how much he invests into these mutas, or whether or not we're going to see an earlier transition into something else.
It looks like the mutas being put to use right now. They're going to try to take out this drop. Oh. Can they do it? Ignite Afterburners is still on cooldown. Will come up in time for the medevac to escape. Doesn't. Looks like, nope, he's just going to use some Marines to buy time. Medevac's trying to get out of there.
I think Cham's going to be okay with that trade. They don't
much. Yeah, I don't think he lost a single Muta, just maybe a couple Zerglings. A very nice win for him.
And units lost is almost equalized, to be honest.
Yes.
2675 to 2500. At the beginning of this game, it was 18 units lost to 0 in favor of Apocalypse. So Cham definitely going to be trying to even things out here.
On the other side, it did give Apocalypse time to build up this anti-muta defenses. He now has a missile turret in each of his bases. So he's not going to be caught off guard by the mutas as they kind of have used that surprise factor to take out that drop.
I'm a little bit surprised Cham hasn't started back up with 2-2. Oh no, the Banelings are going to be morphed right in vision of these Marines and Marauders. Cham is going to try to engage, but immediately going to be backing away. Good control there from Apocalypse, able to identify those Banelings. But yeah, Cham hasn't started up with 2-2 on the Lings, Banelings, which is a little bit worrying for me considering Apocalypse, his 2-2 is well underway, and Cham should be on pace with that.
He definitely should be if he wants to really try to take these battles on the ground. He's committed extremely heavily to Mutalist. I believe he's got 21 Mutalist out. He's still building more.
24 out and 2 in production. 24 plus 2 carry the 5. That's 26.
He's going to have a lot of Mutas out in the field, and that's a big chunk of his resources. So, of course, as you mentioned, no 2-2 on the way either, just now starting those upgrades. He really needs to get a lot of damage done with this harass. There's no Widow Mines in the mineral field, only a single missile turret.
He can target down that turret, and he can kill it really fast, going straight for that natural middle line. Apocalypse definitely not prepared for this. SCV's heading straight into the Muta's going to back away as fast as they can. A lot of workers killed here for Cham, going to be going straight to the main base. I would imagine 2 SCVs toppling off the edge of Star Station there as they get killed by those Mutas, and now going straight to the main, targeting down that turret. Apocalypse scrambling to deal with all these Mutas.
Mutas are doing a lot of damage. Apocalypse was not ready at all for this heavy Muta count. Not many Zergs commit this heavily to the air. It really caught him off guard. But you can see that Cham now scoring 19 worker kills. Of course, I don't think he killed a single SAV before that harass. If you have this many Mutas, they will destroy a worker line, and now they're coming back to help against this drop.
And he's going to clean it up, or he should. Able to identify that drop with that Overlord, and this medevac is dead.
He's still making Mutas.
Yeah.
He's actually just spending, he's going to max out on pure Mutas, and he's got to stick on counterattacks and harass, because if he tries to fight, against 2-2 Marines, he will be destroyed.
That's the thing with this map, though. It's so big that I think you can get away with this to a certain extent, where just keep your opponent at home, just keep being relentless with the Muta play. And the question is, how does Apocalypse deal with this many Mutas?
Widow Mines are often a great answer to heavy Muta counts. Additional missile turrets help as well. First thing Apocalypse has to do is make sure he's safe from the counterattacks. He's still, he now has 2 missile turrets in his natural. He's actually building 2 in every single base, besides a 3rd where his army is.
Know if that's enough, man.
It's not enough to totally stop, but it will punish the harass a little bit to a higher degree. 1 or 2 Mutas will die every time they really run into range.
Speaking of which, one getting taken out there. Apocalypse stimming forward a little bit of his Marines. Again, Cham has 82 drones. He's on 4 bases.
Mutas! Oh no, losing I think maybe 3 or 4 Mutas there.
So yeah, he lost about 6. However, Apocalypse is gonna turn around and fight this. The Banelings trying to connect. The Mutas extending forward as well, but there are Hellbats in the mix. Lings will get destroyed by this. The Mutas being pulled forward though to take those out, down to 24 Mutas. So 10 or so Mutas lost there by Cham in the past 30 seconds or so.
And those Mutas are extremely expensive units. Remember, each one is the cost of a medevac. Rolling over the Banelings. So many more Mutas falling as well. 13 more production.
I don't know.
So he's not giving up at all in this Muta play.
I don't know why he felt pressure to engage there. Like, it's not like Apocalypse is bearing down onto his 4th base. He has 2,000 minerals in the bank. Once that started going unfavorably for him, as far as the Lings and Banelings starting to fall away, I would have liked to see him maybe pull back, get many more Lings in the field, and then try to re-go for that engage. Unless you think he was trying to hit before a certain something. Did you?
It really seemed like what he was doing is he had about 8 Banings there against a pure Marine army, and if even 3 of those Banings connected, he would have cleaned up the entire army and gotten the medevac kills. But I don't think he's used to playing a player like Apocalypse, who is so fast at pulling the Marines back, or knows when not to pull them back. If Apocalypse pulled all the Marines back, he would have scored a lot of medevac kills. If Apocalypse didn't pull them back at all, he would have killed all the Marines at the Banelings. But Apocalypse judged it just perfectly to kill all the Banelings before they closed the distance, while not wasting too much time retreating as well. And it really passed that micro test to a very high degree.
All right, these guys are way up there as far as APM is concerned. Average of 430 right now for Cham. Apocalypse heading to that 4th base, doing a little bit of harassment. The drone's going to be pulled. Cham, uh-oh, these medivacs are a little bit vulnerable. Thought about turning around to try to target those down, but realizing, okay, Apocalypse could maybe stem forward and get some damage done to me. But now, Apocalypse trying to get some damage done on his own. He's at 199 out of 200 supplied. He's pushing across the map.
He is, and drops are being relentless here.
Oh my god.
A great counterattack there by Cham. That's exactly what you want to do if you're playing Mutalist. Now, his Mutalists are still on defense duty, though.
45 workers killed.
It's really adding up.
Apocalypse down to 40 Harvesters.
And Cham has a lot of extra minerals now. He could use those to really solidify his drop defense using sack defense, and then Mutalist could go on the attack. More a counterattack over here reveals Apocalypse's army is on the left side. Cham's going to take this opportunity to sweep into the natural, scoring a lot of kills with this giant Mutalist pack.
Are there any Widow Mines yet?
No, I don't think Apocalypse believes in Widow Mines. Just going pure Marine Hellbat, which is a good combination in its own right, but not nearly as effective at defending this harass. More SCVs going down to Banelings.
Oh my gosh, okay. Workers killed is up to 56. Apocalypse down to 29 Harvesters. Meanwhile, we have a little bit of a drop here at the 4th base of Cham. He's at 77 Harvesters. I don't think he minds losing a few, but doesn't want to lose this hatchery where his ground unit setting some drones. There we go. Summoning's coming back, but Cham electing to engage with only units, but the hatchery does go down.
Picks off the Medivacs, loses the hatchery. One thing Cham could take note of is Apocalypse's natural and 3rd orbitals are actually very low. With this many mutants, he could probably take those out if they're exposed. But first, can he deal with this army? Yeah, Apocalypse has this giant army coming across here.
Jeez.
He's going to need
Medivacs too.
I mean, he's going to need at least like 30 Banings to deal with this, or he could try to base race. Right now, he's morphing 35 Banings.
Where are they?
But they're right in front of the
no, and they're going to scan.
The scan sees it.
Apocalypse going to step forward. He's running for it. He doesn't know how far along the Banelings are. Going to be risking it a little bit, leading forward the Hellbats and the Marauders. The Banelings are done, and Cham is just going to back away. Doesn't want to engage just yet. Apocalypse preemptively splitting all of his units. Look at this great split here by Apocalypse. How is Cham going to engage this concentration? He's going to go for it. The Banelings coming forward again. Apocalypse is on creep, but such supreme damage being done to the Banelings, getting taken down in a matter of seconds. Still plenty of Marines alive, and Cham does not want to engage with Mutas alone, but he's going to be forced to try to transfuse the Mutas, but Mutas versus Marines doesn't work out so well. However, does he have enough to just overwhelm Apocalypse?
He was up by 40 supply before the Mutas engaged. Now it's shrinking, losing so many resources and Mutas. The Marines with 3-3 upgrades, they won't die. There's too many Medivacs. They're not even... He's not even going down in life.
7 Mutas, 6 Mutas. There's the GG from Cham. And just like that, we're at a situation where Apocalypse had, like...
He had a good advantage there. Or no, sorry, Cham, I think
it was like 80 Harvesters to 20. That Baneling detonation at the 3rd base of Apocalypse was ridiculous. So many SCVs died there, and then the follow-up into the natural expansion. But ultimately, he just couldn't get that unit composition he needed when Apocalypse started extending onto the creep to take out a call. Also, since he didn't have any workers, guess how big Apocalypse's army was?
It was very big.
So imagine if Apocalypse's army gets completely cleaned up in that last engagement. Cham is probably going to win the game, but since Apocalypse was able to make that work, that last push, Cham couldn't do anything. I mean, he was dead.
Definitely trouble there. Maybe 4 to 5 less Mutalists. Could have been 20 more Banelings gas-wise, and I think that would have held that attack and given him that advantage. But as it is, of course, Apocalypse does take that win over Cham 2-0. He's going to advance into loser bracket. Our next match is going to be Hwan Sing versus Bad Cop.
Yeah.
We'll be right onto that after a short break.